Hey VC, it's Rodger feeling a little under the weather. Last weekend was Big Ears Festival in Knoxville, and yeah, 4 days of great music, and just about wore me out. And so I got sick, so I'm not feeling so great right now, but I thought I'd come on share with you about Big Ears. This is our third time going, and it's just a fantastic festival. I mean, it's really great artists, very well curated, extremely well run and organized, and downtown Knoxville is a really pleasant place. You just park your car and you can walk to all the venues, and really nice, really nice. So yeah, this year I'll just run down. I mean, there was lots and lots and lots. You know, you can't see everything. That's another thing. But we got to see basically everything that we were really excited about. So yeah, we got there Thursday afternoon, and I got to see Susan Alcorn do a solo pedal steel guitar set. This place called the Standard, former like industrial space that's now kind of a relatively intimate kind of stage with you stand and watch it. It's nice. And she's great, awesome. This is the third time I've seen her play solo, and it's a revelation every time. And so then at the Tennessee Theater, the beautiful 5,000 seat theater, I saw David Hidalgo from Los Lobos with Mark Ribot, excuse me, who also played with Ceramic Dog, but I didn't get to see that. And that was cool. I mean, that was a guitar lesson right there. I used to be a huge fan of Los Lobos, and David Hidalgo in particular. It was kind of cool to see him and hear those songs kind of reimagined as these guitar duets. At one point, David Hidalgo picked up a cello and played a really interesting version of a Los Lobos song. I can't remember what it was, but that was cool. And then at 11, it was getting late and I was tired. We went to go check out Godspeed You Black Emperor, and I couldn't hang in there. I'm sorry, folks. Because the next morning at noon, or maybe they pushed back to 12:30. Yeah, there was a nor'easter in New York, so things got shuffled around because people couldn't get out of the city to come down to Tennessee and play music. So the next day at this back at Standard, big reason number one why we went, Roscoe Mitchell from the Art Ensemble of Chicago. Trio 5 featuring Roscoe Mitchell, Junius Paul on bass, and Vincent Davis on drums. That was terrific. I mean, Roscoe Mitchell, and got to be right up front. And he's got a real interesting, unique sound, kind of acerbic, and he did this sopranino solo that it was just like this constant squeal, and then all these other notes, and it sounded like two notes happening at once. It's an illusion, but or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, incredible, really great. Then after that, caught a little bit of a Kui Mori, doing a laptop set. We had to book to get over to the Mill and Mine and see Rocket Science, which is Peter Evans's band, but includes the great Evan Parker. Now, Evan Parker did 3 different things, including this. So Roscoe Mitchell, Evan Parker, that was reason enough for us to go. And so Rocket Science, yeah, that was cool. Peter Evans, Sam Pluta on electronics, Craig Taborn on piano, and Evan Parker on soprano saxophone. What is there to say? I like the way the piano was treated with electronics and stuff. Anyway, great. So then, right after that, Milford Graves, the great drummer, did a solo set at the Bijou Theater. Just beautiful, like 500-seat theater, nice little theater. And we had VIP bracelets, so we got to sit right down in front. And he was, I knew it was going to be great, Milford Graves, but it wasn't just a drum lesson; it was a life lesson, as he was singing and telling stories, and drum solos and vocalizations and storytelling are kind of like my least favorite things, and when I go to like a concert, those are like my least favorite things. But this was thoroughly mind-blowing. I mean, really, it was. And he had that crowd in the palm of his hand. And so then he said, so yeah, tomorrow I'm playing duets with Jason Moran, and y'all are thinking, that sounds interesting, and it's going to be. And so I took that as a dare. So of course the next day we did go see that. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, Milford Graves. Then we took a break to eat. My friend Sam Bird, the drummer, came for Friday and Saturday, so got to hang out with Sam and his friend Cal. That was awesome. And then we went to see Evan Parker play solo saxophone at the St. John's Cathedral, which is cathedral overstates. It's a big stone church, but a nice acoustic. And holy crap, Evan Parker solo. You know, I was warned that, you know, you're gonna think you're hearing, you know, 2 or 3 saxophones at once. And so I was expecting, you know, another incredible multiphonic display from a monophonic instrument, but I wasn't expecting 4 or 5, you know. I mean, seriously, it was like, you know, he had these lines happening here, and then a middle thing happening, and then a lower line, and then there would be sort of like these other tangential things all happening at once, and, you know, circular breathing the whole time. So it was just like this flow of notes, and it was just freaking mind-blowing. I mean, and, you know, not just a technical display. You know, same thing with Roscoe Mitchell. It wasn't like, oh, look what I can do. I'm Kenny G, you know, or God forbid. No, it was beautiful, really beautiful. So then after that, what did we do? God, did we call it a night after that? Oh yeah, I think we did. Because the thing, which I really wanted to see, but again, it was like 11 o'clock. You know, I was not feeling good, and Sam and I kind of hung out at the hotel bar, you know, between 9 and 11 to see if we could, like, stay awake and go, but we decided no, we couldn't. And apparently it was super duper intense, and, you know, I wish I could have seen it, but so it goes. All right, now moving on to Saturday. Again, got up, you know, kind of early and saw Arto Lenze with Paolo Nilsson Love, the drummer from the thing. And that was great. I mean, it was a little early in the morning for this super skronky stuff, but, you know, Arto brought the DNA with him. It was no wave samba. Oh, it was so cool. And then Evan Parker's Electroacoustic Ensemble at 3 in the Church Street United Methodist Church, which is not on Church Street. Sonically, a great venue, big, you know, cathedral-sized, you know, bigger than the St. Mark's Church. But terrible sight lines, you know, there was no raised platform, and so, I mean, unless you were in the very, very front pew, you couldn't see anything but maybe like one player, you know, between people's heads. And that was a little disappointing. And Evan Parker had his back turned, you know, sitting in a chair facing the musicians, and so his back was turned into something. But anyway, so the Electroacoustic Ensemble was Craig Taborn on piano, Sam Pluta with electronics and processing all the sound, and Kui Mori with her laptop, Ned Rothenberg on clarinet, bass clarinet, and Japanese wooden flute. He was very impressive. I'd never seen him before. And then Peter Evans on trumpet, and Akyung Lee on cello. And it was musically sublime, and the acoustic space was sublime, and you're sitting in this church, and the lights coming through although it was rainy, but lights coming through the stained glass, and you know, it was really special. I wish we could have seen a little bit better, but that's quibbling. You know, come on, Evan Parker electric acoustic, great. Then follow that up with the Roscoe Mitchell Trios back at the Bijou Theater. Again, got to be right up close, and so he had a big group with Tyshawn Sorey and Craig Taborn and Tani Tabal and Hugh Reagan and Ches Smith and I'm gonna forget people. James Fay, who not only played saxophone but he had a booklet music easel. That was cool. Yeah, and Craig Taborn had Prophet Pro 1 and some other electronic keyboard. It was cool. It was really, 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 really amazing. Really, I guess it was the material from that Bells from the South Side thing. But it was just great. I mean, it just went from, you know, almost nothing to this incredible build-up. And then, you know, ended with Odwalla the theme, as did the previous Roscoe Mitchell thing, which was cool. So, yeah, cheers everybody. I'm drinking water because I'm not 100%. All right. Then, okay, Sam Cowell bailed on this, but since it was at the Tennessee Theater, and this is going to show you something, Liz and I were like, well, we've heard of this chick, you know, by reputation. We have to go check this out because it'll just be easy. We'll go in, we'll be seated right down front, and if we can't stand it, we'll leave. So, who was it? Diamanda Galas. Now, I had probably heard her singing before. I knew it was fairly extreme, but I was really not that familiar with her except for her reputation for being extreme. And so going in, it was like, okay, this is going to be extreme. And it was. But it was extremely moving and powerful and riveting, and you know, this was no joke. The woman can seriously play the piano. I was reading her bio, and she was playing Beethoven concertos with the symphony when she was 14 or something. She can really play, and she can really sing, and she uses all this to create this really powerful, just her on a piano, this a vortex of, I mean, the top of my head exploded. Now, I can see that this isn't for everybody, but for those that stayed, did exactly what I did, and a line formed at the merch table where you could get autographed copies of her 2 records that came out last year. The first one being, what is it called? All the Way, which is 1 LP, combines some studio recordings with some live recordings, and this double LP, which is, what's it called? At St. Thomas the Apostle, Harlem, New York. Part of the Red Bull thing she did. Anyway, yeah, she's pretty bold, putting out 3 discs of music all at once. So yeah, how could I resist? Signed copies of these, and these are great. They're really, really, I mean, if my description sounds like something you dig, I mean, these records capture it. And I'm really psyched to, you know, get them from her merch table and signed by her. That's cool. All right, so finally Sunday. Oh, Sunday, boy, I am really a wreck, and I'm thinking, oh God, can we just go home? I'm feeling really bad. But we go see Tyshawn Sorey Trio at the Mill and Mine, and it was really good. But it's, you know, it's a standing venue, and it went on long. Like most of these sets are prescribed either an hour, hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. He was supposed to go on for an hour, and after an hour and 10 minutes, I just wasn't feeling good, you know. And to be honest, there were points along there past the hour mark where it was like, oh, this seems like a good place to end. And then someone would play something and they'd keep going, and then there would come another point where it'd be like, okay, this would be a good place to end. But it would keep going. But it would keep going, but not going anywhere in particular. It would just sort of tread water for it. And maybe I was projecting my bad feelings on that. But so anyway, the rest of, you know, Sunday's a lot mellower. A lot of people have cleared out. But we wanted to stay for Bangs, which is Jason Moran, Mary Halverson, and Ron Miles. Mary Halverson, as you all know, I'm a huge fan, and I'm kind of friendly with her, so I got to say hello to her afterwards. And you know, I'm missing Jason Moran and Evan Parker. And what's his name? All right. Jason Moran and Milford Graves. Yeah, that was great. Anyway, Bangs was also very nice and really interesting to see Jason Moran in these different contexts than I was expecting. Really very gifted player. In between all of that, on Sunday, Liz was like, hey, why don't I get out Google Maps and we'll go record shopping. Previously, when we'd gone to Big Ears, Charlie Simmerly graciously driven me around to these record stores, and one of them in particular, Wild Honey Records, is not easy to find. It's in this really ritzy neighborhood away from things, and in this really kind of shishi shopping center, and really in the middle of this neighborhood. It's crazy. It's crazy. But my sweet wife, she's like, record shopping usually makes you feel better, so we went, and and speaking of Tyshawn Sorry, I got this at the merch table. I'm rambling. I don't feel good. Forgive me. Forgive me. So this is Koan by Tyshawn Sorry with Thomas Morgan on bass and Todd Neufield on electric and acoustic guitar. Originally came out on CD in 2009 on 482 Music, and this is a 2015 2LP version. Beautiful stuff, really beautiful. Some like a very pastoral kind of, not quite new agey, but also some very skunky sort of Derek Bailey kind of plinks and plonks and stuff. Great stuff. Really enjoyed it. So anyway, Wild Honey. Wild Honey. Oh yeah, Big Ears. It's great, but it takes it out of me. The spirit is willing, but the flesh, it is weak. All right, so Wild Honey. Now Sam and his friend Cal had gone to Wild Honey earlier on Friday or something, and Sam was like, "Oh, it's really disorganized," and I was like, "Well, that's not how I remember it." But in fact, I gotta say, it is a little disorganized. They had like a rarity section, which I guess they always had, which had kind of good stuff, but there was no like. And there was like new vinyl on one side and used vinyl, but it was all mixed up, and like, anyway, it was a little frustrating. But this place has great records, and this was on the wall, so it was a no-brainer. Bobby Hutcherson from San Francisco, featuring Harold Land on Blue Note from 1971. I've been looking for a decent copy of this for a while, and so really stoked to have it. This is, Bobby Hutcherson. I love it, and it's got So Bobby Hutcherson on vibes, marimba and percussion, Harold Land on tenor sax, flute, and oboe, Joe Sample on piano, electric and piano, John Williams on bass, Fender bass, and Mickey Roker on drums. Produced by Duke Pearson, but it's 1971, and it cooks. It's just great. I love it. I love it. And here's a VC fave, and Billy Harper, Black Saint, the very first Black Saint record from 1975. I haven't listened to this yet, but it's a classic. It's a classic with Billy Harper on tenor sax and cowbell, Virgil Jones on trumpet, Joe Bonner on piano, David Friesen on bass, and Malcolm Pinsent on drums. Yeah. Could not resist. And let's see. We'll do this. Klaus Schulze, Cyborg on Brain. Really minty copy of this. 2 LPs. And classic Klaus Schulze. Yeah. Really nice score. And then 3 Stefan Mikas records for really pretty good prices. So we have the Till the End of Time on Japo from 1978. Listen to the Rain, also on Japo from 1983. It's a nice cover. Japo, of course, the ECM subsidiary. And finally, East of the Night on Japo ECM from 1985. So yeah, Stefan Mikas is kind of world music, kind of maybe new agey, but I love it. I mean, it's like that cover. It's, this has been healing since I got back. All right, so that was what I found at Wild Honey. I left behind lots and lots of cool records because, anyway, that's just the way it goes. So from there, made our way back into town to a place called Raven Records. Y'all might remember me wearing a t-shirt that I got last year. Very cool, very college town kind of record store. Not as curated as this place, not as pricey as Wild Honey either. Some new stuff, mostly used stuff, but I did find this reissue, and I hemmed and hawed about, I would really like to have the original egg, but I bought it. So Patrick Vian, Brutes et Temps Analog, Life and Time, the analog Life and Time. I don't know. Brutes, and I don't know. My French is terrible, so obviously French. Progressive rock with lots of electronics. Not too far away from like Helden kind of stuff, although not as wild as Helden, really. Really good, really good. And it's a quartet. It's guitars and keyboards and drums and yeah. So this is a reissue from 2013 on Staubgold. Originally came out on Egg in 1976. Yes, I would love to find an original. Sure, of course I would. But this sounded really good. I thought, you know, what can I say? All right, so and then some kind of, you know, they were good finds, I think. Eddie Harris, Instant Death on Atlantic from 1974. No, 72. Excuse me. Yeah, along with Les McCann records, I've been picking up Eddie Harris records. They're a little hit or miss sometimes, but you know, he had this band with Rufus Reed and Richard Abrams, and there's some cool stuff on this. Yeah, I quite like that. Paul Bley, Copenhagen and Harlem. 2 LP set on Heirs to Freedom, which collects 2 Scandinavian LPs that came out in 1965 and 1966. And this comp came out in 1975. Paul Bley on piano, Barry Altschul on drums, and 2 different bass players, Kent Carter and Mark Levinson. Really great stuff. Doing like Annette Peacock tunes and Carla Bley tunes, and well, you know, he was involved with both of them. Really not your typical piano trio kind of stuff. This is really, really good. And would I love original Danish copies from the 60s? Sure, absolutely. But I think they did a nice job with this. You know, Arista, for a while there, was on a roll, you know, making a lot of stuff available that was, you know, and you can still, you know, this is easy to find, you know. All right, finally, one more. Good old Rand Blake. Rapport on Arista Novus, another Arista label, from 1978. Yeah, Bran Flake, as we used to call him at the conservatory. There he is in his office in the basement of the Gothic building here. Yeah, I studied with him, although studying, I think, is overstating it a bit. Yeah, this record, again, I never owned it, but I heard it a bunch of times, and I was like, oh, you know what, I need this in my collection. And so it's, you know, a lot of his favorite things, like Vanguard, which he wrote, and Solitaire, Thursday, Wendy, Biko, you know, these Breakthrough, these were all Mikas Theodorakis tune, Radiazzi, you know, George Russell tune, The Ballad of Hicks Blewett, Go to My Head, some great vocals from Chris Connor on Wendy, and Eleni O'Donnell on that Mikas Theodorakis tune. Really, boy, it brings me back to 83, 84, 85, those years, you know. I can tell you stories, but I'm not. But go back and watch my intro video. I talk a little bit about that. Whatever. Who cares? So long ago. All right, folks. That's it. That's my trip to Knoxville. It's Big Ears. That's digging around for records. Thank you to my wife for getting me around. Yeah, it was fun. And now I'm going to go spin some records and try to feel better. Take care. I'll see you soon.